Hey YouTube, Romako here. Today we'll be analyzing a Six Samurai deck that won, I think, within the top 4 in the last YCS Providence. And then we'll be talking about some good side deck cards and certain things that you can potentially take out and put in within your extra deck and your side deck to maximize your chances of winning. So let's begin. Road to Nationals Part 2. So this deck list I'll post up in the link below as well, but going through the monster lineup, it's 1 hand, 2 Grandmasters, 1 Elder, 2 Kagekis, 3 Kagemushas, 3 Kizans, Surprise, 1 of the Monkey, Xin Squire, and 1 Spirit of the Six Samurai. So once again, I don't take credit for this build. This build was made by somebody else. I'm just telling you guys why it's good, what you guys can do, whether you want to take this build and use it at Nationals or build upon it, depending on what you think will be the most prevalent cards at Nationals, and kind of use this to your advantage with somebody who already figured it out a little bit. So moving on to the traps. Solemn Judgment, 2 Warnings, Oppression, Mirror Force, 7 Tools, Magatama, 2 Fiendish Chains, and 2 Double-Edged. That is the trap lineup. Onto the magic cards. 1 Book, 1 Rhoda, 1 Trunade, 1 Reborn, 1 Gateway, 2 Dojos, we'll explain this in a bit, 2 MSDs, 3 Smoke Signals, and 3 United. So let's actually go over the deck piece by piece and understand a little bit as to why they chose to run each individual card. So why Spirit of the Six Samurai? This card was usually in the standard build and with the upstarts and whatnot, and usually you know, it was there when you could bring out Shien and then you'd try to equip it onto it and you'd call it a day. So why is it in this build in particular? Well, for 2 reasons. One is because of Kizan, and the second is because of Grandmaster, and the third is because of Kageki. So let's go over each of these cards. So how does Spirit of the Six Samurai work with Kizan? So imagine you had both of these cards in your hand. You would summon Spirit of the Six Samurai, special summon Kizan, equip Spirit of the Six Samurai to Kizan, and now you have a 2300 giant beat stick which allows you to draw cards. Great. That on its own first turn is very crazy. Because, you know, 2300 right on the first turn, that's awesome, and with a great effect like that. Plus, on top of that, if they ever try to dark hole your Kizan or destroy it with a bigger monster, send this to the graveyard. Send Spirit of the Six Samurai to the graveyard. Now this applies to all 3 of these cards. So to Kizan, Kageki, and to Grandmaster. So let's take a closer look at Kageki's effect. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Six Samurai monster from your hand. This looks like a level 4 or lower Six Samurai monster to me. What else can this card do? While you control another face-up Six Samurai monster with a different name, oh my god, does this have a different name than Kageki? And are you controlling them both at the same time? Your monster gains 1500 attack. So Kageki will gain 1500 attack on top of its 200, 1700, plus another 500. That's great. So you have a around 2200 beat stick, you know, which can literally let you draw cards. So 2200 beat stick, 2300 beat stick, and 2600 beat stick. Amazing. Alright, and that's before you get into all of these crazy other cards. Let's move on to the next card. Xin Squire. Why is this card run? I don't know if you guys have heard of this deck called Lightsworns or Blackwings, but in both decks they have a card, and in the Lightsworn deck they have a card called Honest, and in the Blackwing deck they have a card called Colute. And what both of these cards allow each of these respective decks to do is, you know, stay alive. If a monster attacks your monster, you can discard Honest or Collude from your hand to raise the monster that's being attacked by the attack that the opponent's attacking monster has. That's great, and for the end of the turn. What Xin Squire allows you to do is stay alive for the end of the turn. So it's not destroyed, even though it doesn't gain the opponent's monster's attack. That's great, because unlike Honest or Collude, Xin Squire is a level 1 tuner, which I think in our case, and it's also Earth, in our case it's actually worthwhile, and it would be too broken if it also had the Honest and Collude extra effect of gaining the attack. So level 1 Earth tuner, so you can see kind of where I'm going with this. Kizan plus Xin Squire equals Naturia Beast or Shien. Grandmaster and Xin Squire equals any level 6 thing that you really want, like Barkion or Brio or whatever, right? Like any level 6 that you want. What else combos can you do with Xin Squire? We'll get into that when we get into the magic cards. Now, Hand of the Six Samurai is a standard card. You need to have, at least one when you're playing a Six Samurai deck. It's just there. It's almost a staple. And the rest of the cards are pretty self-explanatory since they're the other 3 tuners. So that's pretty much it for the monster lineup. As you guys can see, oh, there's actually one more card. Elder of the Six Samurai, another great card. It's almost a Cyber Dragon. Allows you to special summon itself when your opponent is the only person who has monsters on the field and you have no monsters on your side of the field. So this monster lineup allows you to do some crazy things. And so that being said, like you can drop your Elder, special summon it, you can normal summon Kageki, use its effect, get Kagemusha on the field. Boom, that's 8 stars right there. Or you can go into 5 and keep your Kageki around, so it gets a 1700 attack or 1500 attack boost from Shien. So let's move on to the trap lineup, since we've already seen the monster lineup and it looks pretty good already. Trap lineup, two double-edged sword techniques. Sorry. This is a very standard card. Once you get your monsters and you start using them, they're going to start piling up in the graveyard. Let's make some work out of them by bringing them back from the graveyard later on or even during the mid-game to get the maximum benefit out of them. Very standard, very staple. There's nothing else that you really want to talk about with double-edged sword technique. Only 2 because, 3 seems to be too much, especially with a lot of these dimensional fissure and whatnot running around. 2 Fiendish Chain. This is a great card. I talked about this card in one of my earlier videos. Fiendish Chain allows you to stop a lot of cards like Caius, Black Rose Dragon, Trishula, almost anything that has a quick effect, except for Shien because it can negate, or an effect that when it's synchro summoned, it's on par with Fiendish Chain and you can negate it. That's great because most cards in our current format are cards that allow massive destruction right when they're summoned, or they have an effect that goes off due to the player's turn priority. Musakani Magatama. This card is also very self-explanatory. This card can range from being a warning to a judgment, all for free as long as you have a 6 samurai monster on the field. And with our monster lineup, it doesn't look very hard to keep our 6 samurai monsters on the field. 7 Tools of the Bandit. With people running 2 warnings, 1 judgment, and a whole host of other counter trap cards, it looks like we need at least 1 7 Tools of the Bandit as well as 1 Magatama in our deck. But really, it's optional. Mirror Force, once again, very standard. If all else fails and they somehow have a bigger monster despite you, building your deck around for them not having to be able to summon that kind of stuff, Mirror Force is there to kill them off or kill off all attacking monsters on their side of the field. Royal Oppression. This card is desperately needed in our deck. Just like how our deck focuses on very fast synchro summoning, so does Tengu Plants, so does Chaos Plants. Anything that has a plant variant or TG, almost everything requires special summoning these days, and Royal Oppression stops special summoning, gives you the game back, gives you control of the game, but also can be used against you. So this is one of those double-edged kind of cards, you know what I mean? Literally in that sense. So use it wisely. 2 Solemn Warnings. Staple, it needs to be there. Sometimes Bottomless Trap Hole is not enough. Sometimes you really need to negate the summon of a monster before it's out. And Solemn Judgment, the one and only kill off anything for half your life points card. So that's pretty much our trap lineup, and that looks good. So it works very well with the monster lineup, and it's very coherent with it. It flows very nicely, nothing is out of place. Now let's move on to the spells. 3 6 Samurai United. When you're special summoning a lot, this card comes in handy quite a bit, and it's a card that you'd really like to side out in Game 2, because it really doesn't do much for you then, and Game 2 and 3 are very slow-paced games. But 6 Samurai United, you guys know what it does. Lets you draw 2 cards when 2 6 Samurai monsters is special summoned or normal summoned, and you get 2 counters on it. It's definitely needed in this deck. There's no other way to go about it, you know, unless they limit it or something, or semi-limit it. Let's move on to the next 3. Smoke Signal, heart and soul of the deck. It's like a Rhoda for every card in this deck that's 3 stars or under. This card is needed. There's no other explanations for this. In a very back row heavy format, we have 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. Definitely got to get rid of those back rows. Or face up spell trap cards that your opponent has, like Royal Decree and stuff. 2 Xien's Dojo. Let's get back to the monkey. So, in addition to Kageki and Kagemusha and the regular Shien summon, we now have a very cool way to summon Shien or Naturia Beast, and that is drop a Dojo, drop Kizan, throw away the Dojo, bring out Squire, boom, you got your Shien. So usually I look at Kageki and Kagemusha as a great combo, but Shien's Dojo allows you to do one different. It allows you to bring out a card from your deck, thinning your deck effectively in the process. And in addition to that, it can be comboed a lot more. So if you went not in the route of Kageki and Kizan and the monkey, and rather went in the route of Kageki and Kagemusha, you can drop Shien's Dojo and potentially gain up to 3 counters when you summon Shien. Those 3 counters can bring you Spirit of the 6 Samurai, and that allows you to have a Shien that is almost indestructible. Very nice. Let's move on to Gateway of the 6. This is the win more card, or like the win all card, and Gateway of the 6 will probably become banned pretty soon. But it's not a necessary win condition, it just helps you win a lot faster. Everyone knows what Gateway of the 6 does. Monster Reborn, very stable card. Giant Trunade, staple. Rhoda, Reinforcement of the Army, staple. And Book of Moon, staple. So now that you guys have taken a look at this deck, please comment, tell me what you think. You know, tell me any sort of additions or subtractions that you might make from the deck. Tell me your tech cards that you would have used instead of Fiendish Chain. But overall, this is a very well made deck, and I will be posting the link below, as well as the player who came up with this deck, because it's not mine. Once again, I'm not taking credits for it, but once again, I am here explaining as to why he made those particular choices over other choices, like why he didn't main Rivalry of Warlords, or why he didn't main Diffuser, like you saw in the British Nationals. So that's about it, YouTube. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and watch out for part 3 of Road to the Nationals, where I'll be talking about side decking tips and how side decking is literally the winning decider for Game 2 and 3. Take care.